Well, the next show up in Minnesota State University Mankato's Department of Theater and Dance is The Phantom of the Opera, and it's something we've been waiting to do for decades. We've been doing surveys for a long, long time, and our surveys have said ever since the 1980s that The Phantom of the Opera was the show that our audience wanted to see. But as everybody knows, usually, you can't do a show until it's closed on Broadway, and we really think now that Phantom will never close. It's just going to run forever. It just passed the 10,000 mark. And just to give you an idea of how old I am, I saw the original production. But I still think we can do it better here at MSU, and so we're about to embark on this. One of the challenges, though, is as deep as our talent pool is, we had to also go into the past. Just like the Phantom goes into the past. And so we were able to bring back a former student who was here a couple of years ago and became one of our leading players, one of our award-winning actors, then went on to bigger and better things. But he got so big, we had to bring him back. And that's why we were delighted to welcome back Jared Oxborough to come in and play the role of the Phantom. Because when we auditioned the Phantom, for the Phantom, we had lots of Christines, we had lots of Rauls, we had lots of Piangis, but we didn't quite have the perfect person for the Phantom. And of course, when you've been in the business as long as I have, you tend to know the perfect people. And in my opinion, Jared is just about perfect for this role. So we can't wait to start working with him.
Well, people will remember me from recently, the summer before I left. I did Damn Yankees, and I was Applegate in that.
That's the devil.
Right.
Who lives underneath the opera house.
Right. I did Damn Yankees, and that summer I did a couple other shows. I did I Love You, A Perfect Now Change with Paul here, and that was one of my fondest memories. That was kind of, people remember that show as one of those shows where you play like 12 different characters, and it just kind of keeps going, and people were laughing pretty hard, so that was fun. Other than that, we worked on Miss Saigon together, and a few other productions. I won't try and test people's memories, but then since I had left, I've been working in the cities pretty steadily. I worked at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. I did 3 shows there. Most recently, I did the Forever Plaid. Before that, Jesus Christ Superstar. And then I've worked with the Ordway Center and Theater Latte Don, a few productions, and keeping busy. But it's good to be back and working on Phantom, being directed by the best. He taught me everything I know pretty much, so it's nice to be back with the master, and we're really excited about this.
And speaking of Miss Saigon, in many ways this show reminds me of Miss Saigon in that it is so complex, it is so astonishing. And what's interesting with Jared, when he was a student, we basically had him forever, and then we let him fly away. When we bring him back as a guest artist, we had to do a lot of the work before he arrived. So when he came back, we had to really be raring to go. What's fascinating to me, though, and we've done this a couple of times, the last time we did it was with Miss Saigon. Mm-hmm. So Jared had that experience when we brought in a leading player from New York to come in and play that lead for us. Jared experienced what it was like to have an understudy, or a stand-in, if you will, play the role throughout that rehearsal process, and then very much at the last minute, this wonderful actress came in. Her name was Fiona, and she came in and was brilliant in the lead. Jared is now experiencing that, where he knows the seniors in the class. There are several seniors who have still survived, and so they've worked with Jared. But the juniors, the sophomore, none of the graduate students know Jared because of the way that works out. And so what's been interesting in the first couple of rehearsals is watching Jared kind of follow the faux phantom. We've called him a faux phantom. Sam Stahl, who is one of our leads in Rent and in Altar Boys, literally has been walking through. And so even though at this point in time, while we're recording this, Jared hasn't had a lot of rehearsal with us, he's come very quickly right up to snuff, which is what we would expect a professional actor to do. The big difference between this and working with somebody as wonderful as Fiona is that I had never worked with her before, so vocabulary is different. You're really learning how to work with a totally different artist, and you have basically 2 days, 3 days to pull it together. With Jared, it's kind of like riding a bike.
Yeah.
The vocabulary is, I haven't ridden a bike for a long time, but once you get on it, it goes really smoothly, and so it's been an exciting, smooth process. The other thing that's exciting with this, to me, working with Jared here, is that is that what we've been doing has been kind of connecting the dots. All of a sudden, Jared walks on the stage and he brings a palette of color, and he also doesn't. He never did color in the lines. I never could teach him how to do that, and so that makes it pretty exciting when I have a certain notion of what the Phantom should be, and Jared comes with a different notion. Normal students tend to go with the director. Professional actors go with their own instincts, and of course that's what makes us directors even better when they can trust their actors to do kinds of things. So this is going to be a wonderful amalgamation of my ideas, Jared's ideas, the ideas of Andrew Lloyd Webber. But the big thing is that I think this is going to be one of the most visceral and exciting approaches to Phantom that maybe our audience has ever seen. And I do know that a lot of our audience has seen this show, but they haven't seen this production, and that's what we're pretty excited about.
I think MSU's production is on the same level, if not better, than a lot of professional theaters. We run things very, very right here, very smooth. And it is different being back in an academic setting, but it's also, for me, I'm embracing it, because sometimes as a professional actor you lose focus that you should be learning something new every day. And then to come back and realize that, I should be, everything I do as a professional actor, I should learn from it. And it's nice to be back in that sort of setting. And as a professional coming back, having the students kind of look up to me and ask me things, it just brings me back to the days. So it's an experience, that's for sure. It's a little weird being back, but like Paul said, it's like riding a bike. And we, as he said, with the terminology, it's, we worked together a few times when I was here, and it's like riding a bike. So.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that we really try to teach our students. I'm happy to hear you say that the idea that you never stop learning, that theater is a collaborative art form. So what I'm really excited about is right now Jared working with the rest of the cast, and we have I think our cast is incredibly talented, but there's a wide variety of experience. So we have a couple of graduate students in leading roles. We have one graduating senior, Adam Owen, is in one of the principal roles. But both Christine and Raul, the kind of co-leads, are sophomores. And to watch Jared work with the younger talent and in both an encouraging way, but he doesn't recognize this, but he's teaching them at the same time. They're learning from that, and just watching their performance be enhanced when he steps on the stage. Indeed, everybody's is. Although the Phantom, this is a huge show, but the Phantom doesn't reveal himself to a lot of people. I mean, he's mostly a ghost, and so there's one big scene, the first scene of Act 2, where he gets to kind of scare the entire chorus, but they mostly just hide. But it's in those acting scenes where I think the fun really comes out, and I think that's where Lloyd Webber's music really shines as well. When it's not only listening to the pretty sounds, and Jared has a wonderful voice, but it's acting those pretty sounds. And again, having seen a bunch of professional productions of this, sometimes I've heard some really pretty sounds, but they don't make sense to me. Because some of the story isn't pretty. I mean, it's a relatively ugly story or frightening story at times. And then it's also very, very romantic with a capital R. And capital R romanticism often ends in death and unhappiness. And there's a little bit of everything in this particular show.
Let me first say that I've never done anything like the Phantom before. It's unlike anything I've ever done. It's very demanding. It's very diverse. There's so many different directions you can go. And Paul and I have talked about the Phantoms that we've seen in the past and how they have the tendency to kind of go up there and stand and sing.
A recital, kind of like a recital.
Like a recital, like an opera. And we want to make my Phantom very, very physical and very, I don't know, help me out, Paul.
Yeah, visceral.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a more animalistic.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that alone, plus obviously the style of the music, it is an opera. So, I mean, although Andrew Lloyd Webber has a tendency to go into the bit of the pop world, a lot of the Phantom stuff is very operatic. So that style of vocality has been very challenging to me, but I feel like I'm thriving as well with that. And the acting is, like Paul said, it's very romantic, but then he is a very tortured human being, and I think we're going to play with that a lot.
Yeah, one of the things that we, before Jared joined us, we spent the first solid week of rehearsal just in vocal rehearsal. We don't usually do that. We did something similar when we did our earlier production of Rent this season, because the music is so important, and the fact that it is operatic means that we really need to know this music much better than, I mean, like, I also loved I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change, but that was like it was like cotton candy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was easy to sing, it was easy to act, and so all we were doing was spending a lot of time figuring out how to engage, the characters with the audience. With this one, it is not easy to sing. It is not easy to stage. John Paul is our set designer. It's a humongous set, and of course those are the expectations. David McCarl's doing our costume design. The costumes, there's hundreds and hundreds of costumes, and again,
178.
yeah, we're gonna see them all very soon. And it's very, very complicated. The lighting, Steve Smith's lighting, George Grubb's sound, all of that stuff, and yet. There's this wonderful bass in the music, and we are very much honoring that. We're just kind of gallivanting with it a little bit more. But there are some moments that I staged originally. Even when I first staged them, I thought, I don't want to do a lot of action here. I want people to stand there and sing out. With the Phantom, it's kind of fun because there's only usually one or two people on stage. When you have a quartet or a quintet or a sextet, all of a sudden that sound really needs to soar, and so I think we're staging it with respect to that, to the opera fundamentals, and that's one of the reasons again we brought Jared in, because we had a lot of guys who wanted to play the role of Phantom, but they don't quite have the voice. And when Jared was here, his voice was great. It's better now. The voice just gets better and better if you keep on working it, and like Jared has already said, if you keep on knowing that there are things to learn. And I know that he spent a lot of time on his own before he came to our rehearsal in order to make sure that voice was both there as far as the range is concerned and the stamina of the voice. And of course here at MSU, like with professional theater,
carrying around this jug of water.
Yeah, we
gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah, and when we do those 2 performance days, because we have a couple of those, that'll put a strain on everybody. But we'll do it. What we want to say is that tickets are going like hotcakes right now. There's a myth sometimes. A lot of people think that all MSU productions are sold out beforehand. I can tell you, as we're filming this, we are not sold out, but 2 performances are within a day of being sold out. And one of the greatest fears, of course, is that people will come to the box office and say, I would like to get in, and they can't. They're available online or call our box office, and that's a great way to come see the show because we think it's going to be worth seeing.